I would do that. I know it's it's really it's a bitch. It's a bitch. Do you not have to count with crochet? Because that sounds kind of great. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. What kind of stuff do you do? There you go. I knew you could do it. There's 37. Interesting. Come here. That one is 38. What's a yip yip monster? A dog? A dog? Was that 37 or 38, Jiggly? Uh-huh. Okay, then this one's 39. Oh, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it looks funny. Why do you look funny? What's wrong with you? Why are you weird? It's fine. It's fine. 39. One of my issues is that I can't always get the yarn to stick on the needle when I'm pulling it through, right? So I'll lose the yarn, and then because the tip of the needle scrapes across the thread as it loses it, it frays the thread some. And then it becomes harder to get through because then it's like weirdly thin and frayed. And I've only made one thing ever with knitting. Um, and this is a very different yarn and different size needles than I had. I think this is 40 now. Isn't this 40? I think it's 40. Excellent. I was telling Ish that it's funny because I did that whole other project and I remember the basic motions of the purl stitch, right? But um, starting the project. Like I couldn't remember how you're supposed to start. It's like what is the beginning bit again? And she was like, "Yeah, that's always that way." And I was like, "Really?" So just every time you start a new project, you just look at it and go, "What the hell do I do again?" Hmm, interesting. What does that make? Oh, you do not want to come through there, do you? It sounds like a jar cover sort of thing. Like a I want to call it a jar jacket, but cup jacket sort of. I'm working on it. Mhm. Oh, I see. Mhm. It's being pissy, Jiggly. I have something I should show you. Um, I don't know if I know where it is. When I was a kid, my grandmother, my dad's mom. Okay, I think I actually do have this done. Let's get another marker on there. Made me a dog. It was a poodle. The body, the inside of the body was a roll of toilet paper. And it had little pom pom hands, and then on its head, it had like three little pom poms on its head, and a button eyes. And when she gave it to me, my stepmom's name was Anne, and she loved to give Anne shit because she was an ornery little old lady. She's like, "Nah, you don't let Anne use that toilet paper when she runs out." Oh, she loved picking on my stepmom. She was such a mean little old thing. I loved her. Cracked me the hell up. We we used to catch horned toads because this was in New Mexico, and there were back in the 80s. There were still quite a few horned toads out there. Um, I was very young because she died when I was 6. Um, right right after my 6th birthday, and we were out at a little family reunion at her place one day, and I had decided I was going to go hunting for horned toads. Um, and I decided to build a trap. But I had no concept of an animal trap other than what you saw on cartoons. Okay? So I took a box and a stick and I propped the box up on the stick. There was nothing that was going to make this box drop on anything. Like it was just a box on a stick. Um, and I had a sandwich. And so I took little bites of the sandwich because I guess in my head I decided if I eat sandwiches, horned toads obviously eat sandwiches too. Um, and I left a trail randomly going out into the wooded area behind the house um, to lead to the box so that I could catch a horned toad. And then I left. I just walked away from the box and assumed it would catch one. Pretty small kid. So my family must have found it highly amusing because somebody, I don't know if it was an uncle or a cousin or who did it, somebody put a horned toad in that box. Because I did catch one. And that box was not the reason I caught it, for sure. Uh, so I was so excited, because I'd caught myself a horned toad and I put it in the lid to one of those old trash cans that we had back in the day. And my my nanny came up and she was like, "You should ask Anne if you can take it home and keep it as a pet." And I never realized until I got older what an ornery little thing my grandmother was. She was a mess. Anne was not okay with me keeping it as a pet. It was a hot no. Just a mm-mm-mm-mm. And my uncle, I think it was my uncle Ronnie, he convinced me that because if you've ever been around a horned toad, they have these little ducts on the side of their eyes where they shoot this liquid out at you whenever they're threatened, right? And so my uncle Ronnie convinced me that it was acid, and you had to be careful. And he showed me like this birthmark that he had, and he was like, "This is from a horned toad." So for a long time, I was pretty sure that horned toads had acid that they shot out of their eyes. Um, hmm It's still only 41, Jiggly, because I'm having trouble. This is doing some weirdness again. So I'm trying to even get in here. Ah! Seems like a solid move. But no, it's doing some stuff. They do. They do. Well, I had my own moments. One of my favorites. But girl, this was really bad. Sometimes, you let stuff come out of your face. My daughter, I had two kids. My son is 2 years older than my daughter, and she was about 2 years old one day when she came up to me. No, that's not true. She was three. She was three. Um, all right, Jiggly. Now we have 42. Um, she came up to me one day and she says, "Mom, can I, uh, can I pee standing up like Malachi when my pee pee pokes out?" Uh, and I looked at her and I just went, "Yeah." Which is a terrible thing to do. It was not the appropriate response. Um, but it just tickled me so much that I was like, "Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Yeah." And so about a week later, she came to me one day. She didn't. She did not make a mess, and she did go through. She's like, "Mom, I peed standing up," and I was like, "Oh shit." I did deserve that. I did. That was on me. Yeah. I deserved it. I know. Ah. Brought that on myself. Jiggly, I know. Okay, I see. I'm looking at why it was a problem before I'm seeing where the issue was. So, education is important, guys. Don't make my mistakes. I mean, she just asked, "Can I win?" And the answer was yes. Jiggly. You can when that happens. Mhm. I didn't always make the best choices. Let's see. Are you there? Are you doing the right thing? Or are you being weird still? No, you're being weird still. Really don't like the way 41 is, but I'm hoping when we come back across it later, I can find it okay. That's my biggest fear is that it's going to be so thin that I miss it, but maybe it'll be okay. I miss my kids. I know it. She got me back though, Dove. She did get me back. All right, Jiggly, 43. Oh, did I say 33 or 34? Or 40, 43 or 44, sorry. I think that was. Okay, I've gone 44 now. I had to call and pester my son. He's always so busy. 45. Oh. I mean, Solid rule. It's a good solid rule. 46. It's hard to know how to handle things with kids all the time, how to make the best decisions of what you tell them and how and when, and it's hard. It's a lot easier to look back or to look at someone else who's doing it and think, oh, that's not the way. That's not it. But when you're there, man, you do what you can. But especially if you didn't have a great, yeah, if you didn't have a great example, that really doesn't help. Like a lot of times, a lot of the decisions come from, how do I not do what was done to me? How do I avoid that mistake? And it's sad when that's like the best you can do. Is just try to make different mistakes. Right? Mm-hmm. Still feel like it's the best thing I ever did, even though I can definitely say I didn't always make the right choices. Damn in hell. Come here. I pulled it too tight, Jiggly. I pulled it too tight. A little bit. Just a little. Oh, shit. What number was I on, Jiggly? Sweet. Okay, go through. Come on. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I mean, that is like the number one thing, right? It's consistency. It's huge. It's a huge part of the whole thing. 47, Jiggly. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. Well, we can't do everything right, right? Like there's a point. Like there's a we are human and we are flawed the aspect to it. Uh but there's like levels, you know. Okay, so I was having this thought the other day. Okay, and this is depressing to me. Um but I was thinking about someone that I knew just as a person, right? Yeah. Yeah. Um and my thought about this dude, my thought process went, yeah, he's a good guy. He's not abusive. And then I stopped and I was like, "Oh my God, that's where the bar is now." Like that's my thought process on whether or not someone is a decent person is just they're not abusive. Um, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's how that decision gets made, and that speaks, I think, to the prominence of abusive behavior and even condoned abusive behavior, right? Because a lot of abusive behavior is normalized, you know. And so when you look at someone, you're like, well, they don't even go with the accepted abusiveness. Then you're like, oh, they're a decent person because they don't take the easy road of just being an asshole. Was that four? Am I? Mm-hmm. um. Okay, it's 48. Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, like for real, of course, if you can just like be a not abusive person, that is that's all I'm asking. Just just try not to be an abusive person. That's all. Like, I feel like it's not asking too much. And it's not just a men thing. It's men and women, right? It's the way I think about people at this point of just at least they're not abusive. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. 'It's rough. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. It's sad. It's just sad. People are just too rarely actually good to each other. Yep. 49, Jiggly. Right, exactly. 50. I mean, I am one of those people that, in my opinion, I make a very good friend. Um, as long as you you have space from me. Like you just I'm a real good friend with a little bit of distance. That is the healthy way to be part of my life. That's that is I will deal with my crazy. Um and I'll let you know when it's a good time, to be around my insanity. But I regulate my own um inner demons. All right, Jiggly, we're at 51. I gotta turn the heater on because I'm cold and it's making me shake, and that's making it hard to knit. I I prefer to work through certain ones on my own. There comes a point where I need a friend, right? Like that happens. But for a lot of them, it just it works out better for me if I fight it myself. Yeah, yeah. Um, and part of that is my history is one that involved a great deal of brainwashing. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, and when that has been a part of your history, you can't let other people fight your demons for you, because if it doesn't come from you figuring it out on your own, it won't set in properly, because there will always be a fear that it's just you being weak-minded. Uh, which sounds really harsh, but it is the way it goes when you recognize that you've been in a brainwashed situation. Um, yeah, yep, yep. Well, even just them, like someone else's reasoning, right? Like it can occasionally help, but I have to do most of the heavy lifting myself before I can take it to someone else. I basically have to have hit a wall. And there's a particular kind of wall where you can say, okay, you know what? There is obviously something wrong with my breakdown. Like I can acknowledge that even though I can't talk myself out of this irrationality, there is a way out. I just can't see it at the moment. And that's when I'll go to someone else. When I recognize that, like, whatever my brain is doing, it's not letting me. I don't know if you guys are familiar with stuck points. Um, it's a common term for an underlying presumption or assumption that is flawed. Hmm. And that flawed um, concept will be a foundational piece for other ideas, other concepts that you hold. And if you can't get to the stuck point to fight that, then other things won't line up properly in a rational way. Um, so a lot of times when you hit something like that, you do need someone outside of the system to point at the thing and be like, no, no, it's right there, because you can't see it anymore. It's part of the background noise. Jiggly, I don't know if I said this to you, dear, but I think we're at 51 because I have a marker here, so I certainly hope we're at 51. Oh, good. Okay. Excellent. I got to talking, and you know how that goes. Okay. Yeah. Mm. Interesting. Yeah. I was so this is I was so excited because when I went to the doctor this last time, nowadays when you go in, they just run through a little like mini psych test with all the patients to see if you suffer from depression and whatnot, right? And I have been off my psych meds for 5 years now. Um, and I was answering all the questions, and I was like, it's yeah, I still get depressed and I still get anxious, but like the difference in the way that I'm able to answer those questions now compared to what I used to have as my answers was really neat. Ah, thank you for your follow, Brian from the Woods. I do like the Woods. Um, and so it was very, very cool to be like to be able to look at the fact that um, I am doing that much better to have that like that. So, uh, because I've had some pretty severe uh mental health stuff in the past. Yeah. Mhm. I'm trying not to get tangled up in my stitch markers. My stitch markers are trying to snag me. Yeah. I have told people that I feel like this is my I feel like this is sort of my peaceful point in life, Like this is my calm place. It's because there's still stress and there's still life, but most of my life there's been some form of panic or threat to survival um, pretty continuously. And it's fascinating to feel calmer. I mean, if you compared me to people who've never had generalized anxiety and depression and PTSD, then I probably don't seem that calm. But if you compare me to where I come from, um, I just got the next one, Jiggly, so I just got 52. It fought. It fought like a bastard, but I just got it. Oh, thank you, Brian. Of course. It does. Yeah. Thanks. Aw. Thank you, thank you. It was most of my life. You know, they say, Jiggly 53, they say that what your interest and focus was when you were about 12 years old tends to be something that takes a point of priority in your life. Right? So think about where were you, what was your interest, what was your thing at 12? Is that in any way a part of the direction your life took and the interests you continued with? For me, I was put into a mental hospital at 12. And that had a pretty big impact on everything from then out, right? So psychology and trying to understand myself and my mind and other people and their minds and what makes us who we are became what I was more interested in than anything. Uh, 54, Jiggly? People fascinate me. 55. I know. Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, very much. 56. Um, I was having a thought because I was talking to somebody recently about how I know how often I sit and process through what my value system is and what I think is important and how I make my decisions and like in a larger context of who I am as a human being and whether or not I'll be happy with the life I chose to live when I die. Um, Things like that. I think about it a lot. Uh, the meaning, the purpose, that sort of thing. And I was thinking about how, because I got interesting, very interesting. Yeah. Um, I I got pregnant at 17. I had my first kid at 18. And my whole everything became focused around those kids and trying to be the best parent that I could be in a situation of major poverty, right? And so there was no time for thinking about things like the meaning of life. There was just how am I going to make sure my kids have food and a roof? Well, they're grown, and eventually when that need to do the absolute like right now um slows down and you have the space to think. But I remember thinking when I was younger, like, how does anybody have time to think about this stuff? I don't, I don't have, all I can think about is what needs to be done next. Um, right? I feel you. Uh-oh. Now, why is that? See, look. Okay, this is weird. That has gone. Oh, okay. I fixed it. I fixed it. It's fine. Nothing's wrong here. Nothing's wrong. Totally fine. What was I on, Jiggly? I forgot. Was it 56? Okay, this is 57. Okay. My mom, Shivat girl, said that when I was little, if she like looked away, she'd look up and I would be off talking to strangers. Like I was, I was that kid that just never shut up. Um, my my old roommate was the one who got me on Twitch. Uh-huh. I do. I do. Um, mhm. Yeah, gotcha. I have a couple favorites. Um, one of my most life-altering books as a young person was a book called Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. Um, Jonathan Livingston is the name of the seagull, not the name of the author. Um, I read that when I was 16, and that had a huge impact on me as a person. You read it? It's a good book. Um, my for fun reads, like just I find them very amusing, is the series the Dresden Files. Um, I just find that entertaining. Um, and a book that sticks out. Yeah, nice. I hope you enjoy it. It's I- to give context. hmm to give context for that, I was raised in a very isolated, um, hyper religious environment where um, any sort of alternative form of thought was not encouraged. It was very, very highly discouraged. And someone that I respected very, very much suggested that book, and it was definitely not one that my religion would have approved of. Um, but the person who suggested it was in that religion and a very good human being. Um, so I respected the fact that they were able. No, you're totally fine. You're not a problem. I can do all the things at the same time most of the time. Jiggly, I just did another one. Was that what number is that? 59? Um, the Jehovah's Witnesses. But it was compounded, right? 58. Okay, thank you. It um it was compounded because they were Jehovah's Witnesses, but also my stepdad was extremely abusive, and he used the tenets of the religion to create even more isolation than probably most people in the religion um, normally would. Yeah, it was a tool for him in that way. So we weren't allowed to have any kind of relationship with anyone outside of the religion ever. Um, sure. Um, so when I got older, actually, Brian, I looked into what I okay. I decided to study anthropology, and eh, what I believe is most religions are created um, with decent tenets in them. Hi, Izzy. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm happy to see you anyways. Um, they have purpose, right? And most of the time they are there to try to make a society successful. That's they're 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 there to guide the masses in a way that people think that they can be useful. So there are commonalities about basically how we treat one another and things of that nature that I integrated into my personal self. Um, that I'm making Jiggly remember what number of Stitch I'm on, Jiggly or Izzy, because I'm also talking. I can't keep count and and talk. But also I'm doing this so slowly that it is probably causing Jiggly to have like slight seizures. It's kind of where we're at the moment. Uh, Jiggly, I just did the next one. Is it 59 or 60? What was our last number? All right, so that one's 59. All right. So, Brian, I'm Misty, by the way. It's very nice to meet you. Right, yeah, and just like to act the whole do unto others thing, right? It's a good general rule. It really is. Like treat other people the way you want to be treated. That's a good basic like how to with other human beings that I can get behind. Um, okay, I have gotten to 60. That is 60. I just did 60. Uh, ah. Also, uh, I, this is a variety stream. So we do some arts and crafts on Mondays and Thursdays. We cook on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then on Tuesdays, my lovely mod chef joins us and we play video games. Um, Chef controls the game. I don't know if you gathered. I'm blind. I'm 100% blind. And so in order to do any sort of video game stuff, Chef does all the controlling. Chef controls the game, and I yell at him what to do. I have easily the best community on Twitch. These are some of the most amazing people you'll come across, hands down. All right, I gotta get another stitch marker on, and then we've got 61. Nuh-uh. You guys are the reason I come back. Even when technology hates me. But mostly we talk. We talk a lot. Um, Especially me. Does it? I have this thing, 62 Jiggly. I have this thing where if I touch it, it like implodes. No. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Me too. I think I just have like a magnetic personality. That's just got to be what it is, right, Chevette girl? It's it's my incredibly magnetic personality. This is how I've decided to make sense of it. Thank you, Brian. Take care. Oh, I appreciate that. I'll take care. I'm being a smartass. Don't agree with me. I am Magneto. Take care, Brian. Okay, okay. I keep screwing it up. Hold on. I got this. This is fine. We can get to 63. We can do this. I really don't know how many we're doing as far as like the length though, because I don't know what this is going to bunch up as when we take it off of um, the needles. So I'm going to go up to 100 and then just sort of look at it, but I don't know if we'll be able to tell. So, Izzy, I was gonna do the dragon design for the next project, and I got the materials today. Ooh, nice. Um, I can show you. I got the body material and the material that'll be for the wings, horns, and the scales on the tail. I think it's cute. I want to make it for my grandson. Mm-hmm. But I have to wait for Onyx to be able to help me get the rest of the pattern done up. Uh, mm-hmm. Mine is like computers or accessibility tools. Those are great. Um, I have had professionals come out to look at my stuff and they're just like, I don't, what did you do? And I'm like, I touched it. I just touched it. Um, my ex one time, I was staying at his place and he had to go to work. And he was like, well, if you want to listen to music on the computer, feel free. And I was like, I really don't think you want me to do that. And he was like, it's fine. It's a good computer. It's brand new. It's fine. Jiggly, I'm on the next one. What is this one? Is this 62 or 63? Okay. Um, and so I'm like, okay, if you really think it's going to be okay. And he left, and I touched the mouse of his computer, and the whole thing just died. I was like, oh fuck. I I didn't even push buttons. I literally just touched the mouse. It's terrible. It's real bad, is he? Are you? being weird? What are you doing? It's really, yeah, you don't want me to do that. You don't want me to touch your iPad.